because I know that just like he has helped my life, he's going to help somebody here today. So I want to take a picture and capture this moment real quick. Take a selfie real quick. There it is.
All right.
Everybody, woo!
Say hi.
All right, let's get it, guys. Round of applause.
All right. Hello, hello. Thank you for having me here today. I just want to take a quick moment, man. These speakers have just been amazing. Would you agree? Yeah, I've learned so much, and just hearing their personal stories, man, about the resilience and the struggle. I mean, that's the grit that you need to succeed, right? Yes? Yes. Right? So I wish I had that kind of story. I grew up in Pomona or Phillips Ranch, just down the road. You know, pretty middle-class family. My parents, though, did come from extremely poor backgrounds. I was the first one to actually get educated in my family. So they were in real estate. We did pretty well, but, you know, suffered through the real estate crashes and had some ups and downs. You know, they almost lost everything. But I think, you know, that mentality was inbred from me early on, right, about what it takes to actually succeed through times of adversity. So I knew from very early on that I wanted to do something good. And I knew I liked to help people, so from the time I was 5, for some reason, I knew that I wanted to go into medicine. I don't know how, I don't know why, but it's just something I wanted to do. So I geared my entire life around getting into medical school eventually, someday. So, you know, I was always an athlete, I was a good student, I ended up going to USC for undergrad, and I didn't get into medical school the first time around. So I had to do some things, and I had to overcome that adversity. That was a huge impact on my life, and that was the first time in my life that I had actually failed at something. And so dealing with that failure and overcoming that was something that was really transformative for me. So I ended up going to medical school. Now, when you go to medical school from day one, you're indoctrinated to ignore yourself, to ignore everything about anything that comes to health, which is so ironic, being that you're in a field that you're actually supposed to be helping people. So my first semester in medical school, we had 80 exams in 3 months. So you can imagine how many late nights, no sleep, and that just continues. So then I decided I wanted to go into surgery. I'm a vascular surgeon. So I went into surgery, I got into surgery, I did everything I could, super competitive, was able to get into that, and day one of that, even further neglect, right? You are taught not to eat, not to sleep, not to do anything for yourself. We were getting into the hospital about 2 in the morning, and then we were working till about 11 at night, and we would do that day after day after day after day. I did that for 7 years. Straight, completely ignoring myself, completely ignoring everything about myself. Somehow in the process, I got married, I had kids during that time, which my daughter's actually here. I love her to death. But it's like you're going through the desert with Moses, right? So on the other end is Canaan when you become an attending. And that's the promised land. That's when your life changes. That's when you start making money. Little known fact, you don't really make that much money anymore as a physician. So, but life as an attending is no better, right? It actually gets worse. So from 2002 all the way up into 2009, I was in residency and fellowship. That's me about 2015. I was taking trauma call every weekend at 3 different hospitals: San Bernardino County Hospital, Loma Linda Hospital, Riverside County Hospital. I was taking vascular surgery call on top of that. And so my routine when I was on call, I'd get to the hospital at 7 in the morning. I would probably operate on a couple gunshot wound victims, maybe some stabbings, maybe some drunk drivers. In between cases, I'd go out, I'd smoke 4 cigarettes, then I'd have 2 cups of coffee, then I'd go to the cafeteria, and this one cafeteria was great. They had the best fried chicken strips and French fries that you can imagine. I would literally eat that like 3 times a day. So in high school, I was like 170 pounds. In this picture here, I was 240 pounds. And here I am trying to take care of people, right? So, and I'm trying to tell people how to live their life, right? And who am I? Like, what do I know? Right? I'm not doing anything right for myself. I had kids, you know, my personal life wasn't doing great. Finances actually weren't even that great either because I had so much debt from medical school. So this right here is, I've never shown that picture before. I'm embarrassed of that picture. But as you can see, you know, doctors really aren't good at taking care of themselves. So the research actually shows that doctors, only about 30% of doctors actually have any access to regular health care. And again, we're just indoctrinated. We're not gonna take care of ourselves. We're too busy taking care of everybody else. Who's too busy taking care of everybody else that you're neglecting yourself? Who runs a business and runs everything around that business, or runs everything in their life around everything except what they want? Anybody? Yeah? You? Yeah? So why am I talking to you about this? Because doctors, like business owners, so through all of that, through everything I went through all of my training, nothing prepared me for what I was to encounter when I started my own practice, my own business now. It has been the most harrowing experience of my life. In medicine, we knew at the end of the tunnel, there was a good income, there was a secure salary, there was a good life. There's no guarantees when you're starting a business that you're going to have anything at any point in time. All you can do is look into the abyss and be disciplined and move forward every day with a growth mindset and hope and pray and know that someday it's going to pay off. So when you're looking at your health as a business owners are very, very susceptible to chronic health conditions, right? So there's so much stress that goes into a business. What happens when you're stressed out? Cortisol goes up, immune system goes down. You're going to be more susceptible to chronic illnesses, and if you're not taking care of yourself, that's going to be a huge problem. Next slide. So a lot of people suffer from gastrointestinal problems. Anybody have heartburn? Heartburn, ulcers, diarrhea, constipation, dealing with all the stressors of the business and then trying to balance your personal life, that's going to be a huge problem. Chronic pain, musculoskeletal problems. A lot of us have sedentary lifestyles. If you're running a business, you don't have time to exercise, or you don't make it a priority to exercise. And so that leads to a lot of chronic pain problems. Substance abuse in business owners and CEOs is very high. So alcohol abuse, you see this all the time in high achievers, in these CEOs and business owners. What happens when all of this combines, right? So this leads to cognitive decline. What happens when you have cognitive decline and you're trying to run a business? You're not going to be able to make decisions the way you need to be making decisions. You're not going to be able to have the energy to manage your employees. You're not going to be able to think straight. You're not going to be able to manage your finances as well. And this is going to have a huge impact on your business as well as your personal life. Go ahead, next slide. Another thing that happens with business owners when a lot of people pride themselves as like a badge of courage that they're getting 1 hour of sleep or 2 hours of sleep, and then they're powering through the next day or doing whatever they need to do. This may cause a lot of social isolation because you're so busy working on your business. Now, we're social creatures, right? We need social interactions. We need community. Once you start isolating, there's a lot of health, and I'll go into a little bit of this, of what happens to your mental capacity when you start isolating and only focusing on one aspect of your life. All this leads to this, okay, reduced life expectancy. Okay, so what are we working for if we can't enjoy it? If we're not going to be alive long enough to actually enjoy what we're working for? What's the point? Can't take it to heaven, right? So, what is the cost? Let's look at some cost of dealing with chronic health conditions and how this could impact your business. Okay, so we'll start with some of the major health problems that people have. So diabetes is a huge problem. A lot of people think this is genetic. Most diabetes are lifestyle choices, right? Poor diet, no exercise, obesity. Obesity is at an all-time high. And this will lead eventually to some sort of insulin resistance or diabetes. The cost of dealing with diabetes can be over $100,000 over a lifetime. Just that one disease. Okay, next. Heart disease. What happens when you're stressed? Again, cortisol levels go up, adrenaline goes up. You have inflammatory markers that go up. When that happens, blood vessels clamp down, you get high blood pressure. Lifetime cost of treating high blood pressure can be $300,000 to $1 million a year. That could be used somewhere else in your life. Okay, and people say, well, I have health insurance. They'll pay for it. But guess what? A lot of health insurances don't pay for a lot of things that people need, right? So And on top of that, they can drop you anytime for any reason. And on top of that, premiums go up with the more health conditions that you have. Right? So ultimately, this is the C word. We don't want to see this happen to anybody in this room. But man, look at the cost of having cancer over a lifetime. I think you can, there's another number of that, but $250,000 even up to $1 million over the lifetime of treatment. What happens to people that get cancer? They can't work a lot of the time. Their family suffers. Sometimes it's the sole breadwinner in the family. There's so much cost of maybe 24-hour care. There's a lot of things that go along, the ripple effect of having cancer. Cancer can be prevented. Cancer can be prevented by your lifestyle choices. Next slide. So we already talked about the high blood pressure. Go ahead in the next slide. So go back. So mental health conditions, we talked about this, right? Depression, anxiety. What happens when people have severe mental problems? Mental problems probably isn't the best word, but develop depression, anxiety, and other incapacitating things. They may have to take time off work. They may have to engage in lots of therapy or other treatments for their mental problems, and this can range anywhere from $50,000 to $200,000 in cost. Okay, so if you had a decision to make right now to secure your future, one of the biggest priorities, wouldn't you say it'd probably be your health?
Yeah, all the way.
Right? But why don't people talk about it? Now, since COVID, I will say people have been more in tune with their health. Yes?
Yeah.
People have been way more open-minded about things outside the traditional healthcare system and how they can actually become healthy. But it's still largely ignored, especially in high achievers who are so busy doing other things. So let's actually break down these numbers now for your business, right? So let's look at healthy CEOs and business owners versus unhealthy CEOs and business owners. Healthy CEO and business owners can raise their annual revenue about 5% alone just by leading their company. So if you look at that, that's an extra $250,000 in your pocket a year if you're at optimal health, right? And the swing on that, you could actually lose $250,000 if you're not in optimal health. Okay, go ahead and go to the next slide. Productivity and decision making, again, big impact of the business owner, right? And this ripples down into the company culture and how employees value health. And a lot of companies, I mean, if you're running a business, you should really start thinking about investing in the health of your employees. But where does it start? It starts with the owner. You are the leader of your company, right? You cannot expect your employees to have that culture if you're not taking care of yourself, right? You have to be the example. So company culture, if they feel that the leader of the company is unstable, either medically or psychologically, you're going to have a higher employee turnover rate. How much does it cost to hire and fire employees? How much does it cost to train new employees? Right? It could be a lot of money, $5,000 at minimum to retrain an employee. It's very expensive. So maintaining that company culture and training your employees to have that culture, fostering that culture in your company will benefit your business in the long run. Next slide. So work-life balance, we know that healthy people have, typically have better work-life balance. If you have better work-life balance, this is going to translate into your business and you're going to be more financially successful that way as well. So innovation, right? We talk about innovation. How do businesses continue to grow and scale? They have to continue to innovate, right? And the time from an idea to implementation can be a huge difference in how successful your business is. If you're not thinking right, you're not feeling right, you can't get out of bed every day. You may have an idea while you're laying in bed at night, but man, by the morning, you may not be able to actually follow through on that. You have to take massive action to be successful in business. If you're not feeling good, how are you going to do that? Right? Am I right? Yeah. Okay. So, I'm a big golf fan. I love golf. Anybody like golf? Yes. Yeah. So golf to me is such a metaphor of life, right? It's overcoming adversity. It's mental discipline. It's celebrating the small wins, maybe hitting one shot straight out of the 100 that you're taking on the round, and that shot keeps you coming back, right? So I'm going to talk to you about two golfers that you may or may not have heard of. They are the most diametrically opposed golfers that probably have ever existed, right? So Tiger Woods and John Daly, right? You guys familiar with them, right? So let's look at Tiger Woods and John Daly, and let's look at this in the setting of what we would consider healthy and unhealthy, right? So.
Well, I hit balls for maybe 20 minutes, probably a little bit, smoke 4 or 5 cigarettes, drink 3 Diet Cokes, go to the first tee. Sundays I only go to the range.
I used to get up in the morning, run 4 miles, then I go to the gym, do my lift, and I'd hit balls for about 2 to 3 hours. I would go play, come back, work on my short game. I'd go run another 4 more miles, and then if I wanted to play basketball or tennis, I would go play basketball or tennis. And that was a daily routine.
Any differences there? You see any differences? Mindset, right? So the funny thing is, John Daly's actually beat Tiger Woods. His athleticism is really, really good. But you look at Tiger Woods' mindset and his discipline and how he valued his health and his workouts. What happened to Tiger Woods? Man, he has become the most influential golfer probably in the history of the game, right? I wouldn't say he's a GOAT because Nicklaus still holds the record, but he brought golf to a whole generation of people, right? And if you've ever watched Tiger Woods in his prime, man, there's nothing like watching Tiger Woods, right? What happened to John Daly? John Daly was known for grip it and rip it. He was a fan favorite, but he had a lot of ups and downs in his career due to substance abuse problems, and he never really had the success. Can we go to the next slide, please? Never really had the success that Tiger Woods had. Now let's actually look at statistics on these two golfers, right? So this is Tiger Woods' record here. So 15 major championships, PGA Tour wins 82, other professional wins 41. He's won the Grand Slam, Player of the Year 11 times. I mean, you name it, he's done it. Let's look at John Daly's statistics. 2 major championships. I think he had 5 tour wins, other professional wins 19. But what happened to Tiger Woods in 2009? Scandal, right? 120 affairs, right? So what is your definition of health, and what happened to Tiger Woods after his scandal? It took him several years to actually win another tournament, right? And since that time, he's only won 11 PGA Tour wins since 2009. And he's won 1 major. So who was more healthy, Tiger Woods or John Daly? Now, when you look at that on the surface, you'll say Tiger Woods, obviously, because of his mindset, his discipline, how he valued his health. But what was Tiger Woods doing that ultimately manifested in his downfall? And when I say downfall, I mean, it's relative, right? But who knows where Tiger Woods would be today if that scandal wouldn't have happened, right? But why did it happen? He was self-sabotaging, right? He clearly was not taking care of his mental health. And he was compensating by engaging activities that were way outside of his character, were not serving his purpose. That's probably one of the best PGA Tour golfers. So my point is that you can do certain things, and it may not manifest for years and years and years, right? So when you're talking about health, health should not be viewed as a word. Health, like love, should be an action, right? And to have good health, you really have to fall in love with yourself and make yourself a priority, right? Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay, how many of us don't make ourselves a priority? Right? Constantly, right? I'm guilty of it. I'm trying to do better all the time. But let's talk now about what are some myths that may be preventing you from achieving the health that you want to achieve in your life, and therefore transforming that into a better life and a better business for yourself. So this is a lie you've been told. You've been told a lot of lies by the healthcare system. I've been part of the healthcare system for a long time. I know this firsthand. The healthcare system tells you that you are not capable of taking care of your own health. Do they tell you that up front? No, they don't say that to you. But when you go to your doctor and you say, Doc, man, I feel like crap. I can't get up in the morning. I'm depressed. What do?
Magnesium.
Magnesium or an antidepressant, right? Something, right? They don't give you any tools to deal with that problem. You're handed out a medication and you may get about 5 to 10 minutes from your doctor. So how many people have kids in here? So what happens when you tell when your kids come to you with a problem and you say, and you give them the solution right away, or you might even do it for them? What message is that sending to your kids?
You can't do it.
They can't do it. Right? This is what the healthcare system is guilty of. So you are not empowered by the US healthcare system to actually take your health into your own hands. And that's a huge reason why people aren't doing that. Now that's not an excuse, right? Because there's resources. And there's people like me that are out there actually wanting to empower and partner with you and make you accountable for your own health. If you're not accountable for your own health, you're never going to take control of your life, right? Here's another lie that's been told. Diseases exist. So that may sound crazy. Diseases, everybody thinks diseases exist. But actually, if you break down the word disease, it just means dis-ease. And what did people do, doctors in the past? They got together and they said, oh, there's this group of symptoms, there's this, there's that, and let's just name it this, right? And we'll call it this disease. But if you look at actually what's underneath disease, it's really root cause problems, and a lot of those problems are from chronic inflammation, right? So if you look at the US diet, if you look at our lifestyle, if you look at lack of sleep, all of these are going to be contributing to inflammation. If you have inflammation, then you're going to develop chronic health problems. If you're not getting down to the root of what's going on with that inflammation, then you're going to develop what we would call disease. So the analogy I like to say is, let's say you're on a raft, right, in a river. The river's calm, you're having a good time, sun's out, maybe with your friends, you're just cruising along, maybe having a beer, you're having a good time. What you don't see about 2 miles down the river is some rapids, and then at the end of those rapids there's a cliff. And we call that the cliff of chronic illness. So how many people have ever known somebody who ended up in the hospital and their family member said, I don't understand it. Like, he was healthy his whole life. He never went to the doctor, never had any health problems, and one day he just had a heart attack, right? That guy was probably on the raft of disease, right? And he didn't even know it. So if you're not looking and knowing you're on the raft, you can't get off it. But there are ways to get off the raft. That's what I do. I can get you off the raft and get you back in control of your health so you can live the longest life that you can, the best life that you can, and have the best business and financial prosperity that you can. And I will tell you, this is the number one thing that you should be thinking about when you're thinking about how you're going to be in your business and in your life. Because like Jesse said, no health, no wealth, right? Just like they say, no contacts, no contracts. Your network's your net worth. No health, no wealth. Right? Say it again. No health, no wealth. No health, no wealth. What's lie number 3? Eat less, exercise more equals good health. Okay, what if I told you that you could actually eat more, exercise less, and actually have good health? Right? Because it's not how much you're eating, it's what you're putting in your body. And I will tell you, the US, our food supply is killing us. Right? We are eating the deadest food on the planet. Right? Look at these blue zones, Sardinia, even Loma Linda, just down the street. Right? These people are living much longer than the general population. And why is that? It's because they view health as an action. What they're putting in their bodies, and I trained at Loma Linda. I was in Loma Linda from 2002 to 2017, and I saw how the Adventists lived and what they were putting in their bodies and how they were living their lives translated into much better health, much better prosperity, and longevity. Exercise is another misconception, right? So we have these people that do these huge, like 2-hour workouts, cardio, everything else, and that's great. And I think that's great for high performers who are athletes. But honestly, like you can get the health benefits you need from 25 minutes of what we call zone 2 cardio every day. You only need about 120 to 150 minutes a week, and you only got to get your heart rate up to about 120 to 140. Okay, so when you're talking about like, I don't even know where to start with exercise, I don't even, I'm too busy. If you can't find 20 minutes a day to do something to get your heart rate up, then that's on you, right? That needs to be a priority. Line number 4, aging equals feeling like crap. That's what we're told. We go to our doctors, we say, I don't feel good. They say, that's normal, you're 40 years old, you're supposed to feel like this. Right? We know that that is not true, right? Why do they tell us that? Why do they tell us that? It makes no sense, right? If you look at that picture of me when I was 40, I mean, I'm 50 now. And I feel way better than I felt when I was there. And I think I look better. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But what did it take for me to make that decision that aging doesn't need to feel like crap? Usually there has to be a point, hit bottom, right? But you shouldn't have to hit bottom. You can look at my experience and say, I don't have to be there. You can take control and start doing things that, when I first did my body composition scanning, my biological age was actually 75.
Whoa.
I just did my body composition scan last week, my biological age was 45. So genetics, everybody wants to blame their genetics. Oh, I'm just genetically overweight, I'm just genetically this, I have high cholesterol because it's genetic. Yeah, we have genetics. They exist, obviously. There's congenital diseases that you can do nothing about. But there's something called epigenetics. And epigenetics are actually genes that can be turned on and off based on your lifestyle changes. And we know this to be true. So people that have a gene for high cholesterol, they may have that gene, but if they make the right lifestyle changes, that gene may be turned off. And so you cannot sit there and just be complacent and say, my genetics determine my health outcomes. And then the last lie, healthcare is always patient-centered. Come on. Come on. We know who runs healthcare in this country, right? Who runs healthcare in this country? Big Pharma, right? And I don't blame the doctors. We're doing the best we can in the system that we're given. But why do healthcare systems mandate, for instance, at certain healthcare systems, doctors can only spend 5 minutes with their patients. They have to see a certain amount of patients every day. Why is that? Because the hospital has to make money, right? They don't make money by spending an hour with a patient. So don't think that the healthcare system is out there just to serve you. There are other masters out there. So there is a role for taking your own healthcare into your own hands, and there are doctors out there that are outside the healthcare system a little bit that can actually help you quite a bit. So, based on my journey and my experience in vascular surgery, and I don't know if you know what vascular surgeons do, but we take care of the sickest of the sick. We take care of the people that have already gone over the cliff of disease. We take care of people that really have no cure, and we're just kind of palliating them. And so after I did that for 10, 12 years, I said, man, I got cynical, number one, because I was like, man, nobody takes control of their health. This is what happens. I was amputating legs every day. I actually started an Instagram site called Dr. Limb Reaper because I was amputating so many legs. I actually got 50,000 followers on that. But I used to do videos of my surgeries and post them. But as an educational, this is what happens, right? This is what happens. So I decided to go into integrative medicine. I still do some vascular surgery, but this is really where my passion is. The way I've been able to transform people's lives in this field has been unparalleled to my career. So how is this different from the traditional healthcare system? Well, we're peeking under the hood. We're actually looking at root cause analysis as to what might be going on with your health. And instead of prescribing you just medications, we work on a lot of different aspects of your health to try to bring those things all together and get down to root cause. One of the biggest things that I work with is your gut. Okay, anybody heard of the microbiome? Okay, our gut is our second brain. Okay, 60% of our neurotransmitters come from our gut. If the gut's not happy, brain's not happy. If your gut mucus layer breaks down and all those toxins start going into your bloodstream, what do you think happens to your brain? Not only do you get leaky gut, you get leaky brain. What happens with a leaky brain? You get neuroinflammation. What happens to your body with the gut, leaky gut? You get metabolic inflammation. You lose your metabolic flexibility. Once you start losing your metabolic flexibility and you have your neuroinflammation, your body's melting, your brain's on fire, you can't function, right? I have seen so many health conditions go away just by treating people's guts. Things that people have tried numerous medications, been on medications for years, like psoriasis, arthritis, even depression, anxiety. I had a lady who was agoraphobic. She couldn't go outside. I treated her gut and her entire life changed. So this is not rocket science. This is not something that's that complicated. It's just something that you need the right doctor that knows how to deal with these root cause problems to actually get you back on the right track. Next slide. So in my clinic, we do a lot of this work. We do metabolic testing. Next slide. We look at your body composition, look at your lean body mass, your fat mass. We look at all your ratios. We look, and then we use all that information to create comprehensive treatment plans that are root cause based to influence your health and get you back on the right track. One of the other things we do is breath analysis. So we get a lot of performance information from this as well. So we can get your VO2 max, which is your performance, your exercise capacity. We can look at how you're burning carbohydrates, how we're burning fat, what kind of meal timing you need, what kind of exercise benefits your body the best. And we can really design a whole program around that to optimize your health and have that translate into the type of life and business you want to have. So we also do supplementation as well. I won't go too much because I'm short on time here. But diet, we work on your diet. We work on supplementation. There's plenty of supplements. I don't think you should be on 100 supplements, but foundational health supplements, super important to help with your overall health and longevity. Next slide. One of the big things we do is hormonal health. And when people think about hormones, they think about women, but men's hormones, testosterone. Anybody heard of testosterone before? So testosterone, man, as guys, man, as we age, our testosterone levels start going down. What happens when testosterone levels start going down? Brain fog, decreased libido, decreased decision making, weight gain, poor sleep patterns, moodiness. I call it manopause. And this is largely ignored. I mean, people go to Kaiser, they tell them they're feeling like crap. They say, "Doc, I'm feeling like crap." First thing Doc does, put them on antidepressants. Right? I've had so many guys come into my clinic that are on antidepressants, and you test their testosterone level, it's in the bottom 10% of what it should be. Okay? So there's an easy way to get this fixed, and we do a lot of that. Finally, I just want to comment on sleep. Like I talked about earlier, sleep is one of the most ignored and most beneficial things that you need. And I think even putting on this event, I was talking to everybody, they're like, "Oh, I got 1 hour of sleep, I got 2 hours of sleep." I used to be totally sleep deprived. I used to only get like 2 or 3 hours of sleep a night. And I will tell you, what happens to your body with the cortisol levels, your adrenal glands poop out. What happens when your adrenal glands poop out? You don't get the cortisol that you need. That translates to poor energy, poor metabolic function, and overall health problems. So there is an easy rule with sleep. So it's the 10-3-2-1-0 rule. Have anybody heard of that before? No? So no caffeine 10 hours before bed. I know that's hard. No alcohol or food 3 hours before bed. No work 2 hours before bed. No screen time 1 hour before bed. No snooze button in the morning. Okay? So, I don't know where I am on time, but anyway, the last thing I want to talk about is biohacking. Anybody heard of biohacking? Yeah, biohacking. We call it precision medicine. So we combine medicine and technology to unleash the body's own healing capabilities. We do a lot of that. So you can actually tap in. It's kind of like tapping into the back door of the matrix. And we can actually get the body's already designed to heal. So we get these modalities employed, and I will tell you the changes that it makes in people's lives is amazing without medicine, without surgery. Okay. Next slide. Regenerative biologics, also super important, right? If you're suffering from any chronic pain issues, any injuries, anything you need help with, instead of heading right to the surgical suite, come see me. We use regenerative biologics. I've gotten so many people out of pain, gotten their joints back, gotten them back to the activity levels that they want, and really changed their lives. So I'm going to leave you with a story because I know it can be daunting when it comes to your health. A lot of people don't know where to start. I have a lot of patients that come in, they're like, Dr. Jason, I know I don't feel good. I know something's not right. I don't know what to do about it. I've seen my doctor, they're telling me everything's fine. The labs look fine, but I just know that something's not right and I don't know where to start. So I was talking to a health coach and he was telling me a story about a client that he had, and it was this overweight lady and she was coming to him as a health coach for the first time. And he wanted to set some goals with her, and so they were trying to figure out what to do. And so he proposed a few things, and he said, well, can you commit to working out 5 days a week? Scale of 1 to 10. And she said, probably like a 4. And he's like, well, that's not going to work. Forget it. He's like, can you commit to working out 2 days a week? And she said, no, I don't think so. She's like, maybe like a 5 or 6. And he's like, no, can't do it. So then he finally said, okay, why don't we do this? Why don't we just set a goal that you're going to put your gym shoes on every day and come and see me in 2 weeks and we'll see how you did. So she came back 2 weeks later and he said, man, how'd you do? Like, I'm so happy to see you. And she was despondent. She said, I screwed up. She's like, I went out with the girls to happy hour like 3 nights last week. I drank alcohol. I had a bunch of fast food and nothing went right. He said, well, did you put on your gym shoes? And she goes, yeah. And he goes, that's amazing. He's like, you did exactly what I wanted you to do. And she goes, oh, and by the way, I took walks, 2 or 3 days those 2 times. And he was like so proud of her. And the switch in her went off. And that was the first time that someone told her that she did something good for her health. And fast forward a year later, she lost 65 pounds. So my point is you have to find out what your gym shoes are and put them on every day. And for everybody, that's going to be something different. But if you start by putting your gym shoes on, whatever those shoes may be, that's the first step to achieving the health and wellness that you deserve. And that's the first step to developing the life that you want and the business that you want. So for any of you that are serious about wanting to take your health to the next level and your business to the next level, me and my team, including life coach Jesse over there, we're putting together an infinite transformation program, and we're looking for a few people that are actually serious about this, and we're going to put you and do a surgical rearrangement of your health and your life to get you to the level that you need to be. If you're interested in that, click that QR code, and we'll be in contact with you and see if you're a good fit, because this isn't going to be for everybody. Okay, we want people who are serious about this. So thank you so much for having me today, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
All right.